Hello folks, I'm John Myrie and welcome to the Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. On this week's show, we have tips and reports for you from Jarrett McCarthy down at Hayward Bait and Bottle. And then we have the first part of a talk I had with Pro Angler BRO Brosdahl about ice fishing this year. Lots to cover on this week's show, all coming up right after these messages.
Save on your new Polaris snowmobile with a holiday sales event at Hayward Power Sports. Most remaining 2024 models offer rebates up to $2,000 or financing as low as 1.99% for 36 months, plus a 2-year promotional warranty. From relaxing two-up trail cruising to aggressive trail attacking, we have your machines. Meanwhile, the new 2025 Polaris Indy XCR features the new 9R Patriot engine for unbeatable response and acceleration. Get your new Polaris sled today at Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
Riding along in my automobile.
Bumping into things unexpectedly? Make your first choice for collision repair. Ernie's Auto Body, featuring the most advanced collision repair facility in Northwest Wisconsin. With a state-of-the-art spray bake-down draft paint booth for that better-than-new finish, laser technology for precision frame alignment, loaner cars available, computerized estimates, written guarantees, and documented unmatched customer service, the clear choice is Ernie's Auto Body, south of Hayward on Highway 63 and Nursery Road, where quality is no accident.
Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering welcomes you to stop by for their great lunch menu. And while you're there, Lynn's also has a great selection of custom-cut meats and sausages, as well as many varieties of snack sticks, jerky, fresh cheese curds, and much more. Lynn's is open Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 5:30 and 9 to 4 on Saturdays. Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering in Hayward.
Today, anglers fish longer. Today, anglers fish harder. Today, anglers rely more than ever on their electronics. It all comes down to catching more fish, and today, anglers rely on Amped Outdoors lithium batteries, period. Visit ampedoutdoors.com today to power your outdoor experience.
We're recording this week down at Hayward Bait and Bottle. We've got Jarrett in here, and Jarrett, it looks like our open water season's pretty much wrapped up. It looks like everything's going to start freezing up here.
Absolutely. We got a lot of people out playing in the woods up to this point. Still out there looking for their big buck and filling freezers, but seems like ice fishing is going to be right around the corner here. We've got a lot of cold nights ahead of us, some single-digit nights coming, so that'll do wonders for making good ice at the start of the season.
You have any good reports on the fishing for the most part in the first part of November here?
No, I haven't heard many reports. Seems like most guys have been getting buck fever and have retired their rods. We had a couple of guys that were still heavy after some muskies early into November, but they've since died out, and I think everybody's awaiting hard water.
Let's talk a little bit about the ice fishing stuff. That'll be, coming up, and, that early first ice is actually really a good time.
It's really good. A lot of those fish push up shallow, which is perfect because those are going to be the areas that are most accessible for anglers until, we get mid-season, we get some really safe ice. But with that being said, usually what guys are going after early in the season is that really early ice walleye bite.
Well, there's also a few things to be aware of, too, besides the fact that you want to make sure you got safe ice out there or go with somebody when you go out there. Don't kind of try it alone. But, these fish can get really, really spooky when you got clear ice, no snow on it, and, thin ice. Just walking on it, you can chase the fish away.
Yeah, and I know I've harped on it before, so when you get onto early ice, if you're going to go out fishing walleye, your prime time bite is can be anywhere from 3 to 5. So you need to make sure that you are out and set up by, I would say 1:30 at the latest, because then what that allows you to do is get all your gear, get off the ice, let everything calm down, settle down, let those fish calm down, so that when prime time comes, those fish are moving in unimpeded, uninterrupted to come in and bite your flags. Also, while we're on early ice, you need to make sure that as much as possible, I know that when we get to mid-season and when we see a flag, we love running to those flags. We want to get there as soon as possible. But a lot of times with these walleyes, when they come up and hit, those walleyes don't even move, 5 feet from your hole. They're sitting right there with that bait in your mouth. So you want a nice, calm, collected approach to your hole, and you want to give that fish some time when you get up to your hole. You want to be using that flashlight to take a look and see what that toggle on your tip-up is doing. And a lot of times, that toggle won't be moving. You've got to give that fish some time to take that bait them before you just run in. Otherwise, most of those fish will just grab it by the head or by the tail and sit with it. And if you don't give that walleye enough time, you're just going to yank that bait right out of its mouth.
Interesting. And like I said, we were talking, they are spooky out there. The panfish, do you see that with the panfish too that are up shallow?
Much less to the degree that we do walleyes. The panfish will scatter, but the panfish are coming through a lot more often than your walleyes. And if you're sitting anywhere near structure, especially during the daytime, if you got a good weed line, if you got a good stump, if you got something that those panfish are holding to, if you make some noise, you're going to spook them off of there for a little bit, but they'll come back a lot faster than the walleyes will if you spook them.
And even in midwinter, the fish can be more spooky than you think. Even when you get snow covered and a lot of ice. I mean, I've watched with live scope and said, okay, there's a school of crappies out here 75 feet. And my buddy walks out there, punches a hole. I can see the auger go through the ice on the live scope. But I also see the crappies just, boom, they're gone.
Yep, absolutely. And, there are schools of fish that are different. There are schools of fish that you'll get on top where you can make all the noise you want up top on the ice and they won't move. And you'll get some that are really, really spooky. And usually it's a lot of times where it's those bigger fish that are really spooky. They've been around the block. They know a little better. So, but yeah, just this time of year, especially when we got no snow cover and we got that nice, black ice as soon as we get it. Just got to do your due diligence to stay quiet out on the ice.
Let's talk a little bit about the deer season so far. I mean, I didn't hear a lot of shooting going on opening weekend here.
I can't say I heard any shooting, and, just from the couple of guys that I've been talking to and, the staff that I've been talking to, it sounds like it was a really quiet weekend out there in the woods for a lot of people.
Wonder if because it was warmer, I wonder if a lot of the deer weren't moving after dark.
Could possibly be, yep.
And as we're airing this, it'll be the last weekend, but you've got the muzzleloader season coming up, and not a lot of people get out for that, but, that is my favorite time to get out there because less people, deer seem to be moving normally.
Absolutely. It's just like fishing this time of year. You got everybody in the woods, and it's going to, flip-flop. When that comes along, we're going to have most people on the ice, and the woods will have been left alone for a little bit, so it'll be a good time to get out.
And we talked about spooky fish on first ice, but, that's one thing I notice on opening weekend of deer season every year. Deer that are in one area, as soon as a bunch of guys start wandering around in the woods, setting up stands and getting ready for the opening day, those deer just disappear.
It's just like setting tip-ups up. You have to be there so early to have those fish come through, and deer are the same way.
A lot of things go into hunting and fishing. Talking about that, you've got everything that anybody needs for ice fishing in here and for the late season hunting.
Absolutely. Ice season, late season hunting, whatever you're looking for to get a jump start on your Christmas list, we're here for you.
Always some new stuff, too, when it comes to ice fishing or open water fishing. I don't know how they keep coming up with new stuff, but everything's getting so refined. And now you can actually go ice fishing and be comfortable out there rather than going out and freezing. And then mention suits. I mean, we got float suits. You don't got to worry about if you do fall through so much that you're not going to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the name of the game with ice fishing. And, any hobby in general, you want to be comfortable and you want to be able to enjoy what you're doing while you're out there because, you go out there, and you get a negative 10, negative 15 degree day and you go out there in a hoodie and a pair of jeans and some non-water resistant boots or what have you. I'll take a show of hands and see how many of those people want to go out a second time. So being comfortable and being warm out there, that's a big deal.
Jarrett, I want to thank you for taking the time here.
And thanks for having me again, John.
Well, folks, we need to take a break right now and hear from some of the fine sponsors that make this show possible every week. When we come back, we'll be talking to pro angler and fishing guide BRO Brosdahl about ice fishing. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hunters and anglers, Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop sport and bottle shop in the Hayward area. Stop in and check out the huge selection of musky, bass, walleye, and panfish tackle. They also carry archery supplies, bows, crossbows, muzzle loaders, ammo, scents, tree stands, and much more. Gear up for hunting and fishing at Hayward Bait and Bottle. And while you're there, check out the bottle shop for a full selection of beer, wine, and liquor, too. Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop sport and bottle shop.
The Hayward Lakes Visitors and Convention Bureau in Sawyer County, Wisconsin welcomes you to our Northwoods hometown. No matter the season, no matter the activity, you'll always be surrounded by our great outdoors. What more could you ask for in a vacation destination? Woods, waters, world-class events. Contact us for information on lodging, dining, attractions, events, trail conditions, and more. Order your free vacation guide and start planning your getaway today. Visit us at haywardlakes.com or call 1-800-724-2992.
You wanna get outdoors, you wanna have some fun.
A new Can-Am side-by-side is the perfect companion for all seasons. Hayward Powersports still has an awesome selection of new 2024s, and they currently offer rebates up to $2,000 or 2.99% financing for 36 months. If you like the creature comforts, the very popular Can-Am Defender Limited HD10 offers a $1,500 rebate to go along with its full cab, including heat and AC. Looking for a value price machine? The Can-Am Defender XT HD7 features a winch, roof, front bumper, and full skid plate. With a $1,500 rebate, it's all yours for just $14,899. Maybe you need a little more muscle. Unleash the power of the Can-Am Defender XT HD9 or 10 with $1,500 rebates. With the money you save, you can outfit your new Can-Am with a plow, cab accessories, and so much more. Your new all-season companion is waiting at Hayward Powersports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
Certain restrictions apply. Subject to credit approval. See your dealer for details.
Welcome back to another segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors, and this part of the show is brought to you by the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau. For more information on lodging and vacationing here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out their website at haywardlakes.com. Well, folks, one of the people I get on here from time to time is pro angler and fishing guide BRO Brosdahl from over in northern Minnesota. I had a chance to talk to Bro the other night about ice fishing and a lot of great information. Bro, great to have you on the show here. We're going to be talking about ice fishing, but good to have you on the show here for the winter thing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
We haven't got ice yet, but we're working on it, and we know that we'll have some ice. Hopefully, it'll be better than the last year. Hopefully, we'll have a good ice fishing season this year.
Absolutely. Good ice, and then too much snow, it kind of takes down all the deer herds and all that other stuff. But good ice would be really nice, and it would help the industry. We can't have another bad year, but I think everything's setting up really nice. We just, as long as that El Nino doesn't come back, we're getting some crisp temperatures in northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. And last year, we had some strange warm-ups, even here, that were close to 80 degrees in January, which is unusual. And it kind of weakened the ice. But we had the most people that's ever fallen through for many years. There was a record year, different months or whatever. But so I just kind of used the side-by-side. Now, this year, I'm definitely going to practice that. And even when there was 18 inches of ice, we used the side-by-side because you'd come out in the morning and there'd be a big hole in the ice. Someone went through the night before and all that stuff. So let's hope we get good crisp ice and no dramatic warm-ups because it really messes with the ice and it never comes back after that. And it kind of erodes it from the bottom. So this year, crisp, clear, and let's get out there.
Anyway, you brought up the point of using the side-by-sides, but, that's the one thing we have available ice fishing now is, some of the snowmobiles, you can rig up a snowmobile or a side-by-side or an ATV to make an ice fishing machine out of it.
Absolutely. You're absolutely talking about one of my favorite things. And ever since the beginning, and I've, in my guide career and then fishing career, I've worked with a lot of different sponsors and outfits out there. And if you look way back, I've always had a long track sled. And some of them were beaters. I'll admit that. And when I see them for sale, I just can't stop but look. It's like a collector. I just love snowmobiles because is there a better seat to fish on when you drill a hole next to a snowmobile? That is like a couch that goes all over the ice, all over snow, through slush. And, if a side-by-side or a four-wheeler on tracks looks really military and strong and go through anything in the dealership, but they get so super stuck, you almost need a bobcat skid steer to get you out because they high center themselves. And sleds don't do that. The real trick is whether you have a sled that's a short track, older, you can rig them up. It's not about expense. It's about, affordability. That's the thing why ice is so attractive to everybody. It's the fastest growing sport if we get ice, obviously, but studying the track is super important. If we get slush and your track digs, you kind of stick to it so your track digs down, you hit the ice, and you're stuck. And, nothing can ruin a trip faster than having a house filled full of slush and you're stuck. Putting carbides and studs on your your sled will kick it back up and get you going. But in the old days, we didn't have stuff available like you do now. If you don't have a winch that will hook up to your sled, you can pick up a Polzol now that runs on lithium, and you could hook the front of the sled or the back of the sled and then drill a hole. You drop a bar through the ice and then pull your sled out. And I'm telling you, I've been stuck so much, but a lot of this stuff we have now didn't exist. And I've been buried in deep water where you're up to your hips, and I never want to get stuck again. That's why if you ever look at everything I own, it's got a winch, and take it. It's good advice. And even if you have something that's non motorized, have a way to pull yourself out. And when you add slush, it makes it 3 times as heavy. For instance, I figured I'd never be stuck again.
I've been there, done that.
Oh yeah, I was stuck on an old road on Red Lake, chasing them big crappies around after season, and you hit a road, and the water in slush was so deep, and I had tracks on my side by side that I was actually breaking the plastic off underneath my side by side, and when I winched with a bar, it's a bar that the eyelet is slightly off center, so it drops down one way and you pull it up the hook. Well, it grounded out. It couldn't pull me out. Even in low gear, that's how buried it was. So we had to dig. And so I'm kind of now back to being a snowmobile fan, because even in those same conditions, when the sled would start going down, you'd floor it and you'd be back up again. And let's just say that a good long track snowmobiles are the best thing you could possibly have on the ice. And if you look to Canada, they have the most flowages. They get snow, and they're in backcountry. Everybody up there's got an emergency bar to drop in the ice, and they all have some kind of Polzol or winch. And I would just recommend that to anybody, if you got a family or if just yourself, it could save you. Then you don't have to worry. You just go.
Well, lots of things you can rig up on them too. There's gear you can buy for auger carriers and racks to put on the back, but a little bit of ingenuity, you can usually come up with something and make it out of metal, or I've even made some stuff out of wood in the past. But then you can mount your electronics. Your electronics, you put on the GPS and the depth finders, and it's easy to mount those things on the sled.
It is, and it's fun. It's actually really, really fun. And with a GPS, and I've had GPS ever since I had the primitive ones that had no maps. And people got to remember, John and I have been out there since just about when the wheel was invented. We didn't have all this fun stuff, and I'm happy to have it. I love Lake Master maps, but I didn't have that. And now you could just put it on your sled. And what's the right and wrong way? I don't think there's ever been a template to rig snowmobiles. We just had to do it. At one point in time, I had a GPS, and this is before map chip, but I had the first 182C, and that was the first Lake Master map on it. And I had that rigged up. And just for being in stores, I had a stereo with a CD player and satellite radio the first year it came out. And that was just to draw the kids in to get interested in ice. And I had a fish house in the back, an auger rack. But I will tell people, if you're going to put an auger rack, make sure it is absolutely locked down, even in short distances. And the back of the sled's safer than the front. I use an Otter monster box. They designed it for 4-wheelers, but it works great on a long track sled. If you're in areas like Trout Lakes up in Canada, the trails are too narrow for something like that, but they build long, narrow boxes and then take everything apart, basically. But with augers being synthetic and light, I use razor augers. You just take it all apart. I keep an extra auger in the monster box and extra electronics, so they're clean. And you could build your own box. I've seen so many unique ones. Like you say, you can do it out of wood. And a welder, it's good to know a welder, but they can make you an aluminum one. You could just pick up plastic synthetic totes and strap them down. It's all cool, and the fun thing about it is there's no right or wrong way. Just the only thing to remember is snow gets in everything, so you want to use like the sealers that you would use under your door, just a little rubber or plastic that sticks on to keep the snow out.
One thing I will add too is that if you're putting electronics on the sled, I went the route where you power it from the sled battery, but that never seemed to work out really good. So what I've done is I've actually went with a separate battery, mounted a battery, and if you can, use like a lithium battery. I know Amped Outdoors makes some great batteries that are small enough you can get them under the hood on the snowmobile or in the glove box someplace. And mine is rigged up, my Skidoo is rigged up where it's the battery's in the glove box, and I can just plug a charger in with a pigtail that comes out, or I could plug the depth finder into it, one or the other, and I've got full Humminbird GPS and system on the handlebars.
That's the way to go. And I couldn't find any room. They make these things, they look like a rocket ship now, but there's no room, and everything seemed to be in the way. So I put my Amped Outdoors 32 amp hour, 12-volt battery underneath the passenger seat, and then I put the wires. There's one little spot where you could run it underneath the seat up to the front, but I just pushed it up under the seat. It never comes out, and have it up to my handlebars. And now on my Skidoo Expedition Super Wide Track, I have a little bit more than a GPS. I have a Helix 9, but with Mega Live imaging, because I do fish on the sled when I'm guiding. I can cover 2 to 20 miles really fast, and I drill a hole. You jump off, drill a hole, jump off, drill a hole, and then you fish the holes back, starting with the oldest hole. So you might have to do a circle. And I dropped that down because you could see fish in the distance as they're coming in. And it's kind of like the Mega Live is like a sonar, and it's almost like a camera because you can see fish shapes. And so it's a handy thing.
Well, folks, we need to take yet another break and hear from even more of the fine sponsors that bring the show to you every week. When we come back, we'll have the second part of that talk we had with Pro Angler BRO Brosdahl. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hey folks, come on over to Hayward Ace Hardware and check out the area's largest selection of firearms, ammo, and accessories. We carry top brands like Browning and Sig Sauer, and we have a great selection of the newest and hard-to-find models. We've got a large selection of ammo with more coming in daily. If you need a scope, we carry great brands like Leupold, Hawk, and EOTech, and we'll even mount it and bore-sight it for you too. We even sell suppressors and silencers. And don't forget to check out our Guns of the Week. Huge discounts on a variety of pistols, rifles, and shotguns that change every week. So stop on in to Hayward Ace Hardware, your firearms superstore. Hayward Ace Hardware, Highway 63 North in Hayward, or give us a call at 715-634-8700.
Hayward Animal Hospital is a full-service medical and surgical hospital featuring on-site laboratory, digital and dental x-ray, in-house pharmacy, and online store. Dr. Ostrander has 40 years of experience dealing with illnesses, injuries, surgery, and dentistry. Hayward Animal Hospital offers urgent care appointments and emergency surgery daily. Please call early in the day for these appointments. They open at 8 a.m. Hayward Animal Hospital is located 1 mile east of Hayward on Highway B. Call 715-634-8971.
Hey folks, the Log Cabin Store in Northwoods Beach on Highway K between the Big Lakes has groceries, ice, beer, liquor, and pop, and now has all new tackle and bait supplies. All current antiques and household items are now on sale, and all must go to make room for the sport shop. That's at the Log Cabin Store in Northwoods Beach between the Big Lakes.
If you'd like to have your time fishing be more enjoyable and productive, hiring a fishing guide can be a good investment. Whether it's learning more about fish patterns throughout the year, learning how to use your depth finder to find the best spots and fish, learn how to use that GPS to get the most out of it, or learn better boat control, a day on the water with a guide can really help you to be a better angler as well as make a day on the lake very enjoyable. To book a guide trip this year or get more information, you can find us on the internet at www.wiscnorthlandoutdoors.com and then just click on Area Guides.
Welcome back to the last segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. And folks, we're going to jump right back into the second part of that talk we had with BRO Brosdahl. And you're just rigging up snowmobiles or ATVs and stuff for ice fishing. Is, like I said, it's a lot of fun. But the original concept on that being more mobile on the ice was nothing new. Dave Gens has been preaching that for years.
Oh, yeah. I heard it, too, because that was where I started in the ice world when they first USL turned clam. So I was at USL, which had deer stands and 2 different model of fish houses. I was with him, and I heard that a lot of times. We ran all over together and fished, and all these years later, I've moved on to different places, but we always ran with the fish houses up high when we were fishing panfish and all that and being mobile. But I live in walleye country and jumbo perch country, and there's a lot of days we'll set up a house and then we pinwheel around and move and then leave the house on an edge where you're still catching perch, but the walleyes come in because at the hour of power, when the sun sets, the walleyes come. But if I'm pan fishing, a lot of times we never took the houses off the back of our sleds. That's the whole, they'd be so heavy, we would just fish off the sled. So I kind of just have a monster box and a bucket back there, and I fish off the sled. And I'm one of those guys that I have my window open in the wintertime because I don't like heat in my truck. So I'm a perfect candidate to fish off the sled or walk around. And it's that's the thing about winter that most people understand. The people are real crazy about ice fishing like I am. It is so independent. It's just like the feeling of hunting. You're as close to the fish as you could be. You're standing over them like you're in a deer stand, where in the summer you're casting to them. Here you have to draw them to the hole, and some days you're 6 feet down there. There's a small pot of walleyes coming through, or you got a school of bluegills in gin clear water, and it's absolutely amazing. But it's, being mobile, super important, understanding fish and their behaviors, and then the snowmobile. But you and I were talking about real custom rigged sleds, but I got to tell you, I had sleds that I paid $200 for and fished all over the place many years ago. And they, single cylinders, and I had boxes with plates to hold them on there. And back then I had a different color fish house, but I had everything all on the sled, and I was mobile and rods on a little rod holder flying in the air. The only difference now is I could have a little nicer sled, but if I could tell anybody anything, plan for the worst and you'll never get stuck. But if you don't have anything there, there's some places, whether you're in northern Wisconsin, Minnesota, Dakotas, it's a long walk, and it's not good on the ticker. But getting back to being mobile, those years of the snow that took down our deer herds a couple of years ago, the fishing was really difficult. And whether you had a sled or a four-wheeler, snow bear, didn't matter what you had. You jump out of it, you sink up to your hips, and that's no fun. So keeping my fingers crossed, I do like snow. Give me a foot or two of snow, and it just helps the fishing. And if you don't get a lot of snow, if you get blowing snow, you get little islands of snow. Find those islands of snow and fish on them if they're still on the spot. And I always start early ice. I have my list of shallow lakes and bodies of water that I start on. And they don't have every species of fish. And John, you have a lot of lakes there. Always start with the shallow lakes, and you can hit the deeper ones later as the ice gets older.
Well, bro, a lot of great information there, and I know you have the BRO Show thing going on right now. How do they tune into that? How do they get information from you?
Oh, yeah, just go to the BRO Shows every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the Bros Guide Service on Facebook. So if you go to Bros Guide Service, you'll see it there. And it'll be streaming through some of my sponsors, but for now, that's where we're at. And we're going to talk about ice fishing, where and how, but also what's new on the ice. And then I'll bring different guests in to talk about, what kind of goods they have and what's good about them. And so it's a fun thing, and I do it for fun, and I just love it. And we give stuff away too. So if you like and share while the show's on, you have a chance to win, and it's totally random, and we don't pick. So we got some bigger prizes coming up, but we have some good giveaways. So just fun, talking about ice.
Well, bro, thanks a lot here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
Well, folks, we're about out of time for this week's show. I'd like to remind everyone out there that if you miss a show, go to our website at wnoradio.com. From there, you can link to our podcast site, and the show is also on Spotify and Google Podcasts every week. And also, if you're looking for information on vacationing and lodging here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau website at haywardlakes.com. Thanks for listening, folks. We're out of time, and we'll be back again next week with another interesting show for you.
Listen with me, I'm gonna take you there to our Wisconsin outdoors, our Wisconsin outdoors.
This program has been produced and hosted entirely by Wisconsin Northland Outdoor Communications.